scientists, artists, and experts will explain concepts in basic science.
Bear in mind that basic research does not have to be basic in the simplest sense of the word. It is something that we want you all to redefine to make it more attuned and relevant to the needs of our time.
Booster shots, and is there really a time frame to get the booster shot? So any response or comment from our experts? This is booster for the COVID-19 vaccine.
Maybe I could start.
Yes,
so boosters are usually recommended if you have if you have waning immunity. So the durability of protection does not, if, for example, the durability of protection does not stay long for COVID vaccines, for some COVID vaccines, then you need to sort of boost your immunity to still get you protected. So some countries have been doing booster shots, and actually for the US, they're considering that the definition for fully vaccinated requires 3 shots. So that's for the US definition. But that's not yet set. For the Philippines, I think it's still being deliberated right now, whether to get the booster shot or who to give it to, special populations, like healthcare workers or OFWs who need protection when they go to abroad. For the other panel members, maybe you could also chip in for this question.
Hello. May I?
Dr. Ulanday.
Yeah. So to add on that, I think we should also include policy here, no? I know that the science is already being studied, no? For example, the waning immunity, and current research would suggest that those who had infections, kasi I think before there was a question, do you need to get vaccinated if you had COVID-19?
Yes.
So now the latest research would tell us that those who had COVID before, and then when they get vaccinated, they have better protection. So that's the initial study. So it's still changing right now. So like the US, as said by Dr. Velasco, they already provide booster shots, especially for special populations, because we want to ensure that the immunity is still there. But as mentioned by Dr. SENICAS, we are not in the ideal setting right now. So the supply is still limited. So we have to consider not only the science, but also the policy. So the supply is also a big factor here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ulanday. Oo nga naman. So, and related to questions regarding boosters is naman the delay, because there's a question here that a person was actually from Yolanda Gaduena who was given Sputnik 5 or Gamaleya, but the second dose has not been given yet to her. So what would be the effect of a delayed second dose?
So maybe I can start, and the other panelists can add. So in general, in vaccinology, if you choose between giving the vaccine before it's supposed to be given. So for example, let's say dose 1 is today and dose 2 should be 4 weeks after today, right? If you give the vaccine before that, mas pangit actually yun kesa sa delaying it. And this is because you are not giving the immune system enough time to internalize the first dose. And mas okay if you give the immune system more time to internalize. So we have seen this with AstraZeneca. If you compare, for example, if you give the dose 4 to 6 weeks after the first dose, ang immune response is less if you as compared to giving the second dose 8 to 12 weeks after. And so what I'm trying to say is that yung second dose mo na kunyari later than what it's supposed to be, that is actually okay. And we've seen that in other vaccines as well. Ang danger is if you give the second dose before it's supposed to be given.
Okay. Thank you. Dr. SENICAS, are there additional comments from our other experts?
I will add.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. TUAZON and Dr. VELASCO.
You know, I'm always weighing what I will say versus official pronouncements by the Department of Health. But we do have a little bit, I mean, it's quite known that the supply of the Sputnik V is delayed. However, maybe what I'll assure is that, take note, this is me talking not as an official spokesperson of DOH, that the DOH is really addressing this and looking into it, and the confidence level is that the one dose with Gamaleya data, not as clear data, shows there is high efficacy. But we also discussed about the benefits of even delaying it. So at this point, it's still within something kaya, and I think the DOH will come out with something after that. So try not to be too worried for those who had the first dose of the Gamaleya. I do agree with the explanation of Mark, but I'm not the vaccinologist in the group. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. TUAZON. Dr. VELASCO, would you like to add information?
Just like to add that sometimes like the DOH recommend like 6 months after the first dose. It's also partly due to supply and demand. But the 6 months also, as mentioned by Dr. SENICAS, is from a scientific standpoint, it gives your immune system sufficient time to from the first dose to mount an immune response and to respond better actually to the second dose. So the increased time actually is a little better than compared to getting it before the recommended second dose date.
Okay, so I hope you heard that. Don't worry too much if your second dose is delayed. So we have also a lot of questions regarding what could be a good vaccine brand if they have this condition. So perhaps I will just throw a general question, collate these questions. So is there really a need for a specific brand for certain conditions? Like, is there a more appropriate brand if you have a heart condition, if you are diabetic, if you are a breastfeeding mom? Is there such a thing as a more appropriate COVID-19 vaccine brand for certain conditions? Because we have so many questions on the person having this condition and asking what vaccine brand is appropriate for them. So anyone from our experts?
Introducing Health Insight Wellness Healthy Blend 15-in-1 and 16-in-1 Coffee Blend.